Have you ever wondered where everything came from? Not just us, but the earth, the sky, the stars, everything. Most stories begin with a spark of creation, a divine plan. But the story of the Norse worlds? It starts with nothing. An absolute yawning void. Imagine a vast, silent emptiness, abyss so deep it has no bottom and so wide it has no sides. This was the Ginnungagap. On one side, a realm of primordial fire and chaos. Muspelheim, a land of eternal flames and searing heat, so bright it would blind you. On the other, the icy, foggy realm of Niflheim, a world of endless frost, biting winds, and frozen rivers. Two extremes, fire and ice, existing in a silent standoff across the great void. For ages, this was the state of existence. Fire, ice, and the nothingness in between. But nothing lasts forever, not even nothingness. The fiery winds from Muspelheim began to drift across the Ginnungagap, reaching toward the chilling mists of Niflheim. As the searing heat met the ancient ice, something incredible happened. The ice didn't just melt, it began to drip, and these were no ordinary drops of water. Within the life-giving meltwater, a form began to coalesce. A being of immense size, the very first life in the cosmos. This was the frost giant, Ymir. He was not good, nor was he evil. He simply was, the primordial ancestor from which a race of powerful, chaotic giants would spring. As Ymir slept in the warm, misty air created by the meeting of fire and ice, life began to stir from his own body. From the sweat of his armpits, the first male and female giants were born, and from his legs, another son emerged. This is how the race of giants, the Jotnar, came into being. They were beings of raw, untamed power, born from the very first being in the universe. But Ymir wasn't the only one formed in that primordial thaw. From the melting ice, another creature appeared, a colossal cow named Autumnbla. Her milk flowed in 4 great rivers, providing sustenance for the giant Ymir. While Ymir feasted, Autumnbla found her own nourishment. She began to lick the salty, frost-covered ice blocks that filled the void. For 1 whole day, she licked, and by evening, the hair of a man appeared from the ice. On the 2nd day, she licked some more, and the man's head was revealed. By the end of the 3rd day, the entire being was freed from his icy prison. His name was Buri, and he was the first of the gods. Buri would have a son, Buro, who in turn married a giantess named Bestla. Together, they had 3 sons who would change the fate of the cosmos forever. The first and wisest was Odin, the Allfather. The second was Vili, who gave consciousness and motion. And the third was Vi, who gave the senses of sight and hearing. These 3 brothers, the first of the Aesir gods, looked around the chaotic, growing universe. They saw the brute strength of the giants, born from Ymir, and they knew that for a structured, ordered world to exist, a great change was needed. They saw the untamed potential of the void, and they had a vision for something more. Odin, Vali, and Ve, filled with a divine purpose, decided that the time of chaos had to end. They resolved to do the unthinkable. They would kill the first being, their own cosmic ancestor, the giant Ymir. A battle of epic proportions ensued, the first war in history. The young gods against the colossal giant. Despite Ymir's immense size and strength, the 3 brothers, with their combined power and divine will, were victorious. They slew the giant Ymir, but this was not an act of simple destruction. It was an act of creation. When Ymir fell, his blood poured out in a cataclysmic flood, drowning all but 2 of the giants, who escaped on a wooden box to carry on their race in a distant land called Jotunheim. With the primordial giant dead, the brothers began the monumental task of building a new world from his remains. They carried his enormous body to the center of the Ginnungagap and began their divine craftsmanship. From Ymir's flesh, they fashioned the earth, the solid ground upon which all life would eventually walk. The rich soil and the rolling hills were all made from him. His immense bones they piled up to create the mountains and cliffs that would touch the sky. His teeth and shattered bone fragments became the rocks and stones scattered across the land. The world as we know, it was literally built from the body of a fallen giant. But what about the oceans, the lakes, and the rivers? Odin and his brothers used Ymir's blood and sweat for this. They dug out vast basins and let his blood pour in, creating the deep, dark oceans that would encircle the land. The smaller streams and rivers that crisscross the earth were also carved out and filled with this lifeblood. The world now had land and water, mountains and valleys, but it was dark, enclosed within the void. It needed a sky. For this, the brothers took Ymir's massive skull. They heaved it up, up, until it formed a great dome over the entire earth, creating the sky, the heavens. To hold this massive skull sky in place, they posted 4 dwarves at each of the cardinal points: Nordri, Sudri, Austri, and Westri north, south, east, and west. The sky was in place, but it was still dark. So they journeyed to Muspelheim, the realm of fire. They captured the glowing embers and sparks shooting from the fiery realm and tossed them into the sky, creating the sun, the moon, and all the stars. Finally, to complete their new world, they took Ymir's brain and threw it into the air beneath the sky. His brain scattered and became the clouds we see drifting across the sky, sometimes white and fluffy, other times dark and stormy, reflecting the chaotic mind from which they came. And so, from the death of one being, a new world was born. The Midgard, the Middle-earth, was created, a realm for future inhabitants, a place of order and potential, crafted from the chaos that came before. This is just the beginning of the Norse saga. The worlds are born, but they are not yet filled. The stage is set for the arrival of humanity, the schemes of trickster gods, and the epic tales of heroes and monsters that will shape the destiny of this new cosmos. The 9 realms are taking shape, and the great world tree, Yggdrasil, will soon grow to connect them all. What happens next? Well, that's a story for another time. We're diving deeper, exploring how the gods brought order to this chaos, structuring the universe into the legendary 9 realms, all connected by the colossal world tree Yggdrasil. So grab your drinking horn, and let's explore the branches of creation. After the primal war and the creation of the world from the body of the giant Ymir, Odin and his brothers, Vili and Ve, weren't finished. They needed a structure, a cosmic map, to house all the different beings that would come to exist. This is where the concept of the 9 realms comes into play. Imagine a universe not of distant galaxies and stars, but of distinct, interconnected worlds, each with its own inhabitants, rules, and landscapes. These realms aren't just floating randomly in the void. They are held together, tethered by the roots and branches of a truly immense and sacred ash tree, Yggdrasil. Yggdrasil is the absolute center of everything, the axis mundi, or the world's axis. Its name is often translated as Odin's horse, referencing the time Odin hung himself from its branches for 9 nights to gain the knowledge of the runes. This tree is the very skeleton of the Norse cosmos. Its branches reach high into the heavens. Its trunk passes through the center of the world, and its 3 massive roots delve deep into different realms, drawing sustenance from sacred wells. It is a living, breathing entity, the pillar that supports all of existence. Without Yggdrasil, the 9 realms would collapse into primordial chaos once more. It is a symbol of endurance, interconnectedness, and the eternal cycle of life, death, and rebirth. Let's start our tour at the very top, in the highest branches of Yggdrasil. Here lies Asgard, the fortress of the Aesir gods. This isn't just some cloudy paradise. It's a magnificent fortified city, surrounded by a massive wall built to keep out intruders, specifically the giants. Within Asgard are gleaming halls of gold and silver. There's Valhalla, Odin's majestic hall, where brave warriors who died in battle are brought to feast and train for Ragnarök. There's also Bilskirnir, Thor's enormous hall, the largest in Asgard, and Fensalir, the marshy home of the goddess Frigg. Asgard is a realm of divine power, order, and martial strength, the command center from which the gods oversee the other realms. It's connected to the world of mortals by a shimmering rainbow bridge known as the Bifrost, guarded vigilantly by the ever-watchful god Heimdall. Now, let's travel down the trunk of Yggdrasil, across the Bifrost Bridge, to a realm that should feel a bit more familiar, Midgard. This is our world, the Middle-earth. After creating the cosmos, the gods found two logs washed up on a shore and fashioned them into the first humans, Ask and Embla. They placed them in Midgard, a realm intentionally built to be a safe haven, encircled by a vast ocean. And to protect humanity from the wild, chaotic forces outside, they used the eyebrows of the giant Ymir to create a defensive barrier around it. Midgard is the realm of mortals, a world of balance between the divine order of Asgard above and the chaotic forces below. It's the central stage for many Norse tales, often the battleground where gods, giants, and humans interact, for better or for worse. Its fate is intrinsically linked to that of the gods, a delicate balance maintained by their protection. From the relative safety of Midgard, we now venture into a place of primal chaos and immense power. Jotunheim, the land of the giants, or Jotnir. Located on the eastern edges of the world, Jotunheim is a stark, untamed wilderness. Think vast, snow-covered mountains, dark, impenetrable forests, and raging, icy rivers. It's a land of extremes, reflecting the nature of its inhabitants. The giants are not necessarily evil, but they are forces of nature chaotic, powerful, and often in direct conflict with the gods of Asgard. They represent the untamed, destructive side of the universe, a constant threat to the order the gods have tried to establish. Thor, in particular, spends much of his time traveling to Jotunheim to test his strength and keep the giants in check. It's a realm of ancient magic, primordial strength, and a constant source of tension in the cosmos. Of course, these are just 3 of the 9 realms. The cosmos is far more complex. Nestled near Asgard is Vanaheim, the home of the Vanir gods, deities of fertility, wisdom, and nature, like Freyr and Freya. Then there's Alfheim, a realm of light and beauty, home to the luminous light elves. Contrast that with Svartalfheim, the dark fields deep within the earth, where the master craftsmen, the dwarves, forge legendary weapons and treasures for the gods. There is also the grim realm of Helheim, ruled by Loki's daughter Hel. This is the underworld for those who die of sickness or old age, a cold, gloomy place. And we can't forget Niflheim, the primordial realm of ice and mist we mentioned in our last video, which continues to exist at the bottom of the cosmos. Finally, there's Muspelheim, the land of fire, home to the fire giants and their leader, Surtur, who waits with his flaming sword for the day of Ragnarök. All 9 are distinct, yet all are connected by the mighty Yggdrasil. Yggdrasil itself is a bustling ecosystem. It's not just a passive tree, it's a world teeming with life and conflict. At its very top, an eagle sits, observing everything that happens across the 9 realms. Between its eyes rests a hawk named Hverfgalnir. At the roots, a monstrous dragon or serpent named Nidhogg gnaws relentlessly, trying to destroy the tree and bring about chaos. This represents a fundamental tension at the heart of existence. Creation and destruction in a constant struggle. And to make matters more interesting, a squirrel named Ratatoskr scurries up and down the trunk. Ratatoskr is a cosmic gossip, carrying insulting messages between the eagle at the top and the dragon at the bottom, forever stoking their animosity. This little creature symbolizes how strife and conflict are woven into the very fabric of the universe. The great tree also has to endure other hardships. 4 stags Dane, Valin, Dunare, and Dorathrer nibble at its leaves, representing the constant challenges and small damages that existence must withstand. Yet despite being chewed by a dragon, nibbled by stags, and serving as a conduit for insults, Yggdrasil endures. It is healed by the sacred waters from the wells at its roots. One root goes to the Well of Ord in Asgard, where the Norns, the fates of Norse mythology, weave the destinies of all beings. Another root reaches the Well of Mimir in Jotunheim, the source of all wisdom. The final route extends to Virgelmir in Niflheim, the source of all the cold rivers in the world. These wells sustain Yggdrasil, allowing it to remain green and strong despite the constant threats. It is a powerful symbol of resilience in the face of eternal struggle. And that brings us to the end of our tour of the 9 realms and the magnificent world tree, Yggdrasil. From the shining halls of Asgard to the dark depths of Helheim, the Norse cosmos is a rich and complex tapestry, all held together by the branches of a single sacred tree. It's a universe defined by conflict, balance, and interconnectedness, where every realm and every creature plays a vital role in the grand cosmic drama. Climbing the Bifrost Bridge to Asgard itself, to meet the gods who call it home, the mighty Aesir. Get ready, because these aren't just characters from comic books. They are complex, powerful beings full of wisdom, rage, and a fair bit of drama. At the head of the Aesir, seated on his high throne Haiskjalf, is Odin, the Allfather. But don't just think of him as a king. Odin is a relentless seeker of knowledge, a god so obsessed with wisdom that he made unimaginable sacrifices for it. To gain cosmic insight, he journeyed to Mimir's well, which lies among the roots of the world tree Yggdrasil. The price for a single drink from its waters? One of his own eyes. Odin didn't hesitate. He plucked it out and dropped it into the well, gaining profound knowledge, but forever marking himself as the one-eyed god. But his quest didn't stop there. Odin is also the master of runes, the ancient magical alphabet of the Norse world. How did he learn them? Not by reading a book. He pierced himself with his own spear and hung from a branch of Yggdrasil for 9 days and 9 nights, without food or water, teetering between life and death. In this agonizing state, the secrets of the runes were revealed to him. This tells you everything you need to know about Odin. He is a god of war, poetry, and magic. But above all, he is a god of sacrifice, willing to endure any pain for ultimate wisdom. He is always accompanied by his 2 ravens, Hugin and Munin, thought and memory, who fly across the worlds each day to bring him news. Now, let's talk about the god who makes the heavens tremble, Thor the Thunderer. If Odin is the brains of Asgard, Thor is its unrivaled brawn. He is the son of Odin and the earth goddess Yor, making him a bridge between the divine and the natural world. His primary duty? Protecting Midgard, the realm of humanity, from the monstrous giants of Jotunheim. Thor is a straightforward, honorable warrior. He's quick to anger, but also quick to forgive, and he possesses a fierce loyalty to his family and to the innocent. You can't talk about Thor without mentioning his legendary arsenal. First and foremost is his hammer Mjölnir. Forged by the dwarven brothers Brokkr and Sindri, this hammer is so powerful it can level mountains, and when thrown, it always returns to Thor's hand. But Mjölnir isn't his only weapon. He also wears Megingshjord, a belt of strength that doubles his already immense power. And to wield the mighty Mjölnir, he needs Jon Greiper, his iron gloves. When you hear thunder rolling across the sky, that's not just a storm. It's the sound of Thor riding his chariot, pulled by his 2 goats, Tangrisnir and Tangjinjoster, on his way to smash some giants. Next, we must discuss the most complicated and captivating figure in Asgard, Loki. He's often called the trickster, but that barely scratches the surface. Loki isn't an Aesir by birth. He's the son of giants. Yet, through a blood oath, he became Odin's sworn brother, granting him a place among the gods. Loki is handsome, silver-tongued, and incredibly clever. His cunning is a double-edged sword that both saves and endangers the gods in equal measure. One day, he might use his shape-shifting abilities to trick a giant builder out of payment, saving Asgard, its greatest goddess. The next, his mischief might lead to a catastrophe that threatens the entire cosmos. Loki walks a tightrope between creation and chaos. He is the father of monstrous children, including the great wolf Fenrir, the world serpent Jormungandr, and Hel, the ruler of the underworld. His actions are driven by a mix of envy, boredom, and a desire to challenge the established order. He is the agent of change, the catalyst for many of the greatest tales in Norse mythology. While he often helps the gods, there is always an undercurrent of darkness to him, a hint that his ultimate loyalty is only to himself and the chaos he embodies. We'll see just how far that chaos goes in a later episode. Of course, Asgard is home to many other powerful deities. We have the wise and graceful Frigg, Odin's wife and the queen of Asgard. She is a goddess of foresight, love, and destiny, known for her deep maternal instincts. While Odin seeks knowledge of the future, Frigg often already knows it, though she seldom speaks of what is to come. She weaves the clouds and is a protector of homes and families, a serene and powerful presence in the halls of the gods. Then there's Heimdall, the white god, the ever-vigilant watchman of Asgard. He stands at the end of the Bifrost Bridge, guarding the realm of the gods. His senses are so sharp, he can hear grass growing on the earth and wool growing on sheep. He requires less sleep than a bird and can see for hundreds of miles. In his hand, he holds the Jallarhorn, and when he sounds it, the blast can be heard throughout all the 9 realms. That horn will signal the beginning of Ragnarök, the final cataclysmic battle of the gods. And we can't forget Tyr, the bravest of all the gods. Tyr is the god of law, justice, and heroic glory. His courage is legendary, best demonstrated by the story of the binding of the wolf Fenrir. When the gods needed to chain the monstrous wolf, Fenrir would only allow it if one of them placed their hand in his mouth as a show of good faith. Only Tyr was brave enough to do it. When the gods betrayed their promise and the chain held fast, Fenrir bit off Tyr's hand. From that day on, Tyr was known as the one-handed god, a symbol of self-sacrifice for the greater good and the harsh price of maintaining order. And that's just a glimpse into the divine court of Asgard. From Odin's wisdom to Thor's strength, and from Loki's chaos to Tyr's honor, the Aesir are a pantheon of immense power and deep complexity. Their stories are about more than just battles. They're about sacrifice, family, betrayal, and the eternal struggle between order and chaos. Through the vast and vibrant world of Norse mythology. In our last segment, we explored the 9 realms and the cosmic tree, Yggdrasil. Today, we're diving headfirst into the action with Part 4, Tales of Magic and Mischief. These aren't just epic adventures. They are the very stories that forge the personalities of the gods, revealing their wit, their flaws, their vanity, and their surprising sense of humor. We'll see how their choices, their tricks, and their triumphs shape the destiny of Asgard and beyond. From divine trickery to cosmic heists, these sagas are where the gods truly come to life. So grab a horn of mead, settle in, and prepare to witness the cunning, chaos, and courage that define the Aesir. Let's begin with a wall, a giant, and a very, very clever horse. Shortly after creating Midgard and Asgard, the gods realized their celestial home was vulnerable. They needed a fortification, and fast. Just then, a mysterious master builder arrived, offering to construct an impenetrable wall around Asgard in just 3 seasons. His price? The sun, the moon, and the hand of the beautiful goddess Freya in marriage. The gods, led by Odin, scoffed at the impossible timeline and the outrageous cost. But Loki, ever the schemer, saw an opportunity. He persuaded the gods to accept the deal, but with a twist. The builder had to complete the wall in a single winter, with no help from any man. The gods agreed, thinking it was a surefire way to get a free, partially built wall. The builder accepted on one condition. He could use his magnificent stallion, Svalfari, to help him haul the massive stones. As winter progressed, the gods watched in stunned silence. The giant, for that is what he was, and his horse worked at an unbelievable pace. Svalfari was no ordinary horse. He did the work of 10, hauling colossal boulders through the night. With only 3 days left until the deadline, the wall was nearly complete. Panic erupted in Asgard. They had been outsmarted. Freya was in tears, and the sky was about to lose its lights. Furious, the gods turned on the one who had gotten them into this mess, Loki. They threatened him with a most painful demise unless he found a way to sabotage the giant's work. Terrified, Loki promised to fix it. That evening, as the giant and Svalfari went to fetch the final stones, a beautiful mare suddenly appeared from the woods, neighing seductively. Svalfari, distracted, broke free from his harness and chased the mare deep into the forest. The giant roared in frustration, chasing after his stallion, but they were gone. The sun rose, the deadline passed, and the wall remained unfinished. The gods had won, thanks to Loki's trick. The enraged giant revealed his true form, but without the protection of the deal, he was no match for a furious Thor, who promptly dealt with him. Sometime later, Loki returned to Asgard, a little sheepish, and with him was a small, gray foal with 8 legs. This was Sleipnir, the child of Loki's shape-shifting escapade, who would grow to become Odin's personal steed, the fastest horse in all the 9 realms. Our next tale is a classic, a story of cosmic theft, divine desperation, and a very unconvincing disguise. One morning, Thor, the mighty god of thunder, woke up to find his most prized possession missing. His hammer, Mjölnir, was gone. This was a catastrophe. Mjölnir wasn't just a weapon. It was Asgard's primary defense against the giants. A frantic Thor sought out Loki, the first suspect in any mischief. Loki, for once, swore his innocence and offered to help. Borrowing Freya's magical falcon cloak, Loki flew to Jotunheim, the land of the giants. There, he confronted the giant king Thrym, who boasted that he had stolen the hammer and hidden it 8 miles beneath the earth. He would only return it for one price, the hand of Freya in marriage. When Loki returned with the news, the gods were outraged. Freya was so furious at the mere suggestion that her rage shook the halls of Asgard. So, a new plan was needed. It was the god Heimdall who came up with a truly audacious idea. If Thrym wanted a bride, they would give him one. They would disguise Thor Asterisk as Asterisk Freya and send him to Jotunheim to get the hammer back himself. Thor protested, roaring that everyone would call him a coward and mock his manhood. But Loki, who was clearly enjoying this far too much, pointed out that if he didn't, the giants would soon be ruling Asgard. Reluctantly, Thor agreed. The gods set to work, dressing the muscular god of thunder in a bridal gown, placing a beautiful necklace around his thick neck, and covering his bearded face with a veil. Loki, ever the opportunist, decided to go along as Thor's handmaiden. The two arrived in Jotunheim, and Thrym, overjoyed, welcomed his bride-to-be with a grand feast. The disguise, however, was not without its challenges. The bride proceeded to eat an entire ox, 8 salmon, and all the sweets, washing it all down with 3 barrels of mead. Thrym was astonished, but the quick-witted Loki, as the handmaiden, explained that Freya had been so excited to meet him that she hadn't eaten for 8 whole days. Later, when Thrym tried to steal a kiss, he lifted the veil and recoiled in shock at the fiery, intense eyes glaring back at him. Again, Loki jumped in, explaining that Freya's eyes were red from 8 sleepless nights of longing for her wedding day. Convinced, the foolish giant called for the sacred hammer Mjölnir to be brought forth to sanctify the marriage vows. As soon as the hammer was placed in his lap, Thor ripped off his veil, seized his weapon, and his laughter thundered through the hall. Needless to say, the wedding was off, and Thrym and his giant kin were swiftly dealt with by a very, very cross-dressed god of thunder. Now, let's explore a story that explains the origin of some of the gods' most iconic treasures. It all began, as it so often does, with Loki's mischief. In a particularly wicked mood, Loki snuck into the chambers of Sif, Thor's wife, who was famous for her beautiful, long golden hair. While she slept, Loki cut it all off. When Thor discovered his wife shorn and weeping, his rage was legendary. He found Loki and was about to break every bone in his body when the trickster, fearing for his life, swore he would go to the dwarves, the master craftsmen of the 9 realms, and get Sif a new head of hair, even more beautiful and made of real gold. So Loki traveled to the realm of the dwarves, Svartalfheim. He found the sons of Ivaldi, who were renowned for their skill. They not only forged a flawless head of golden hair that would magically grow on Sif's head, but they also crafted 2 other masterpieces. Skidbladnir, a ship that could be folded to fit in one's pocket, but was large enough to hold all the gods, and Gungnir, a spear that never missed its target, which was destined for Odin. Feeling cocky, Loki took these treasures and sought out 2 other dwarven brothers, Brokkr and Sindri. He wagered his own head that they couldn't possibly create 3 items that could match the perfection of the ones he held. The brothers accepted the challenge. As Sindri worked the forge, he instructed his brother Brokkr to work the bellows without stopping, no matter what. As they forged the first item, a fly Loki in disguise bit Brokkr on the hand, but he didn't stop. They'd produced Gullinbursti, a golden boar that could run through air and water and glowed in the dark. For the second item, the fly bit Brokkr on the neck, harder this time. He flinched but kept pumping. They created Draupnir, a golden ring that would duplicate itself, creating 8 new rings of equal value every 9th night. For the final and most important treasure, the fly bit Brokkr on the eyelid, drawing blood and blinding him. For just a second, he stopped to wipe his eye. It was a tiny interruption, but it was enough. From the forge, they pulled their final creation, a mighty hammer. Its handle was just a little too short, but its power was immense. It was, of course, Mjölnir. The time came to present the gifts to the gods in Asgard. Loki presented his 3 treasures to Odin, Freyr, and Thor. Then Brokkr presented his. He gave the ring Draupnir to Odin, the boar Gullinbursti to Freyr, and finally, the hammer Mjölnir to Thor. Despite its short handle, the gods unanimously declared Mjölnir the greatest of all treasures, for it would be their ultimate defense against the giants. Brokkr had won the wager, and he came to claim Loki's head. But the wily Loki had a final trick. He had wagered his head, he said, but not his neck. The dwarves couldn't cut his head without harming his neck, which wasn't part of the deal. Cheated out of his prize, a furious Brokkr settled for sewing Loki's lying lips shut with an awl, a temporary but painful punishment for the god of mischief. And so, through Loki's troublemaking and a dwarf's resilience, the gods acquired their most legendary artifacts. These tales of magic and mischief are more than just entertainment. They are the heart of Norse mythology, painting a rich portrait of a divine family that is powerful yet deeply, relatively flawed. They remind us that even gods can be vain, greedy, and foolish, but also brave, clever, and capable of great things. So far, we've witnessed the creation of the cosmos, the rise of the gods, and the establishment of Asgard as a shining beacon of order. But every great story has its turning point, that moment when the bright day begins to fade and the first long shadows of twilight appear. Today, we enter that twilight. This is the beginning of the end, the first great tragedy that sets the stage for Ragnarök. Our story begins not with a bang, but with a growing sense of unease among the gods. Their fear is directed towards the children of Loki, the trickster's monstrous offspring. There's the world serpent Jormungandr, cast into the sea. Hel, banished to rule the realm of the dead. And finally, the one who remained in Asgard, the wolf Fenrir. From a pup, Fenrir grew at an alarming rate, his strength and ferocity becoming a source of constant dread. The prophecies foretold that this wolf would bring about great destruction. The gods knew they had to act. But how do you restrain a creature whose power seems to grow with every passing day? They tried twice with mighty chains, first letting, then drumming. Each time, Fenrir allowed them to bind him, treating it as a game to test his strength. And each time, with a simple flex of his powerful muscles, he shattered the chains to pieces, laughing at their futile attempts. The gods were at a loss. Their finest smiths could not forge a fetter strong enough to hold the wolf. So, in their desperation, they turned to the masters of subtlety and magic, the dwarves of Svartalfheim. He commissioned a new restraint, one not forged from metal, but woven from the impossible. The dwarves created Gleipnir, a ribbon as thin and soft as silk. But its ingredients were the stuff of legend, the sound of a cat's footfall, the beard of a woman, the roots of a mountain, the sinews of a bear, the breath of a fish, and the spittle of a bird. These were things that do not exist, and from them, the dwarves fashioned the strongest bond in the 9 realms. Armed with this silken ribbon, the gods invited Fenrir to a deserted island, proposing yet another game. But Fenrir was no fool. He had grown suspicious. Why would they present him with a bond so flimsy after their mighty iron chains had failed? He sensed a trick. He declared he would only allow himself to be bound by Gleipnir if one of the gods would place their hand in his mouth as a pledge of good faith. If they tricked him, he would have his price. A heavy silence fell upon the gods. None of them, not even the mighty Thor, was willing to make such a sacrifice. They all knew the dwarves' magic was true, and the ribbon would hold. They knew the hand placed in Fenrir's maw would be lost. But then, one god stepped forward. It was Tyr, the god of law, justice, and heroic glory. Known for his unwavering courage and sense of honor, Tyr calmly placed his right hand between the wolf's powerful jaws. His action was a testament to his character. For the good of all, for the preservation of order, he was willing to sacrifice a part of himself. The other gods quickly wrapped the silken ribbon around Fenrir. The wolf strained, heaved, and thrashed with all his might, expecting Gleipnir to snap just as the others had. But the more he struggled, the tighter the magical ribbon became. Panic and rage filled him as he realized he was trapped. In his fury, he snapped his jaws shut, and Tyr's hand was gone. The gods, relieved at Fenrir's capture, let out a cheer, but their celebration was muted, all except one. Tyr stood silently, his face a mask of pain, his arm ending in a bloody stump. He had paid the price for their security. The great wolf was bound until the day of Ragnarök, but the cost was high, and the act of breaking their oath to the wolf planted a dark seed of betrayal that would one day bear bitter fruit. This act of sacrifice and betrayal set a somber tone in Asgard. But the true darkness, the first real taste of sorrow, was yet to come, and it would center around the most beloved of all the gods, Baldur the Beautiful. Baldur was the son of Odin and Frigg, the god of light, joy, purity, and innocence. He was so fair and so gentle that light was said to shine from him. All of nature loved him. He was the joy of Asgard, and his presence brought peace and happiness to all. But one day, a shadow fell over this bright spirit. Baldur began to be tormented by terrible nightmares, vivid dreams that foretold his own death. A palpable gloom descended upon Asgard. The laughter and music faded, replaced by a worried silence. The gods could not bear the thought of losing Baldur, of their world being plunged into darkness. His mother, Frigg, was especially distraught. Determined to protect her son, she embarked on an extraordinary quest. She traveled through all the 9 realms, extracting an oath from every single thing, from fire and water, iron and all other metals, from stones, earth, trees, sicknesses, poisons, and every beast and bird. She made them all swear that they would never harm Baldur. With this seemingly foolproof protection in place, Asgard's joy returned. The gods invented a new pastime. They would gather and hurl things at Baldur, axes, stones, spears, and watch in amusement as every object would swerve away or fall harmlessly to the ground, refusing to touch him. Baldur stood in the center, radiant and unharmed, a living symbol of their security. But not everyone shared in the celebration. One figure watched from the shadows, his heart curdling with jealousy. It was Loki. He couldn't stand the sight of Baldur's perfection and the love everyone had for him. He saw this game not as a celebration of life, but as a personal insult. His twisted mind began to plot, seeking a crack in the armor of Frigg's protection. Disguising himself as an old woman, Loki went to Frigg's hall, Fensalir. He praised the god's new game and Baldur's invincibility. Frigg, filled with a mother's pride, confided in the old woman. "Yes," she said, "I have secured an oath from all things, so nothing can harm my beloved son." Loki, in his disguise, pressed gently, "From asterisk all asterisk things? Did you miss anything, however small or insignificant?" Frigg, unsuspecting, admitted to one small oversight. "To the west of Valhalla," she explained, "grows a little shrub called mistletoe. It seemed too young and harmless to ask for an oath. That was all Loki needed to hear. The one weakness, the single oversight." A grin spread across his face as he left Frigg's hall. He went straight to the place she described, found the mistletoe, and with his own dark magic, he fashioned a small, sharp dart from its wood. He then returned to the gathering of the gods, who were still joyfully testing Baldur's invincibility. In the crowd, one god stood apart, unable to participate. It was Hodr, Baldur's own twin brother, who had been blind from birth. He could hear the laughter and merriment, but couldn't see the spectacle or join in the game. Loki approached him, his voice dripping with false sympathy. "Why don't you also show honor to your brother, Hodr? It seems you are the only one left out." Hodr replied sadly, "Because I cannot see where he stands, and I have no weapon." "Nonsense," said Loki, pressing the mistletoe dart into Hodr's hand. "I will guide your arm. You, too, can share in this honor." Hodr, trusting and innocent, agreed. With Loki guiding his hand, the blind god threw the small dart. It flew straight and true, unlike all the other weapons. It pierced Baldur, who collapsed to the ground, silent and still, dead. For a moment, there was absolute shock. The gods stood frozen, unable to comprehend what had just happened. The laughter died on their lips, replaced by a horrified gasp that echoed across the fields of Asgard. Then, a sound never before heard in that golden realm arose, a collective wail of unimaginable grief. Joy had been murdered, light had been extinguished. For the first time, sorrow had come to Asgard. The blind god Hodr stood in stunned confusion, while Loki, his terrible deed done, slipped away into the shadows, his work complete. The first great tragedy had struck, and the path to Ragnarök was now irrevocably set. The death of Baldur is a wound that will never truly heal, and its consequences will ripple outwards, bringing the twilight of the gods ever closer. Through the 9 realms met gods and giants, and witnessed epic tales of creation, trickery, and heroism. But every saga has an end, and for the Norse gods, that end is a cataclysm of fire and ice, known as Ragnarök, the twilight of the gods. This is the story of their final, glorious battle. Our tale begins with the world in mourning and a god in chains. For his unforgivable role in the death of the shining god Baldur, Loki is captured. The gods, their hearts heavy with grief and fury, devise a punishment of unimaginable cruelty. They bind him deep within a cavern, using the entrails of his own son. Above him, they place a venomous serpent, its poison dripping onto his face, causing him to writhe in agony. His loyal wife Sijin stays by his side, catching the venom in a bowl. But when she must empty it, the poison strikes, and Loki's violent thrashing causes the very earth to tremble. These tremors are the first dark omen, the first sign that the world's foundations are beginning to crack. Loki's torment is a mirror for the decay spreading across Midgard, the world of mortals. A terrible change comes over humanity. Greed, conflict, and betrayal poison the hearts of men. Brother turns against brother, and all oaths are broken. The world descends into a moral winter, a prelude to the physical one that is to come. This is the beginning of the end, the first whispers of the prophecy that has haunted the gods for ages. Then, the prophecy truly begins to unfold with Fimbulwinter, the Great Winter. For 3 long years, a relentless winter grips the world. Snow falls from all directions, biting winds howl, and the sun offers no warmth. All life withers and dies. Humanity, driven to desperation by unending cold and starvation, falls into utter chaos. There is no law, no compassion, only a desperate struggle for survival. This endless winter isn't just a season. It's a test, a brutal filter that signals the imminent collapse of the old order. The bonds of society, family, and honor have been utterly shattered, setting the stage for the final act. At the end of this long, dark winter, the cosmos itself begins to unravel. The wolves Skal and Hati, who have chased the sun and moon across the sky since the beginning of time, finally catch their prey. The sun is swallowed, the moon is devoured, and the world is plunged into an all-encompassing darkness. The stars vanish from the heavens. The great world tree Yggdrasil shudders from its roots to its highest branches. The mountains crumble, and every chain, every bond, every fetter in the 9 realms breaks. And with that, Loki is free. The monstrous wolf Fenrir, who has been bound by the gods' magical chains, shatters his prison. From the depths of the ocean, the world serpent, Jarmungander, stirs in a rage, causing colossal waves to crash upon the shores of Midgard. The end is no longer a prophecy. It is here. From his post at the Rainbow Bridge, Bifrost, the watchman of the gods Heimdall, sees the coming doom. He sees the legions of enemies marching towards Asgard. From the north, a ship made from the uncut fingernails of the dead, Naglfar, sets sail, steered by the giant Rime. From the underworld, Hel herself leads her army of the dishonorable dead. And leading the forces of chaos is the freed trickster Loki. Heimdall raises his mighty horn Jallarhorn to his lips. He sounds a blast so powerful that it echoes through all 9 realms. It is the alarm call the Cheer have long dreaded. The gods know what it means. The final battle has come. Odin, the Allfather, consults the severed head of Mimir one last time, seeking wisdom for the fight ahead. Then, he dons his golden helmet, grasps his spear Gungnir, and leads the gods and the Einherjar, the spirits of humanity's greatest warriors, out of Valhalla and onto the battlefield of Vigrir. The plain of Vigir stretches 100 leagues in every direction, and it is here that the fate of the universe will be decided. On one side stand the gods of Asgard, Odin, Thor, Tyr, Freyr, and Heimdall, side by side with the valiant warriors of Valhalla. On the other side, a fearsome alliance. The frost giants, Loki and his monstrous children, the armies of Hel, and the fire giants from Muspelheim, led by the fearsome Surtur, who wields a sword brighter than the sun. The 2 armies charge, and the sky itself cracks under the fury of their clash. The battle is a series of fateful, preordained duels. Odin, the king of the gods, rides his 8-legged steed Sleipnir straight towards his ancient foe, the great wolf Fenrir. Despite the All-Father's might, the wolf's jaws are impossibly vast, stretching from the earth to the heavens. In a moment of cosmic tragedy, Odin is swallowed whole by the monstrous beast. The king of Asgard is the first of the major gods to fall. But vengeance is swift. Odin's son Vivar, known as the Silent God, strides forward to avenge his father. He wears a special shoe, crafted from all the leather scraps discarded by shoemakers throughout time. He places this shoe into Fenrir's lower jaw, grabs the upper jaw with his bare hands, and with immense strength, tears the great wolf apart, avenging the All-Father. Meanwhile, Thor, the mighty god of thunder, finally confronts his own nemesis, the Midgard serpent Jormungandr. Their battle is legendary. The sky roars with thunder as Thor swings his hammer Mjölnir, and the sea boils as the serpent thrashes. With a final godlike effort, Thor smashes the serpent's head, killing the beast. But as the monster dies, it spews a torrent of deadly venom all over the thunder god. Thor staggers back 9 paces, a number of great significance, before he too collapses, succumbing to the poison. The strongest of the gods, the champion of Midgard, is dead. Other duels rage across the battlefield. The one-handed god Tyr faces the monstrous hound of Hel Garmr. They kill each other. Heimdall, the watchman, fights his sworn enemy, Loki. The trickster and the guardian, 2 opposites, end their long feud by simultaneously dealing each other a fatal blow. The god Freyr, who had given away his magic sword for the love of a giantess, fights the fire giant Surtur, armed only with an antler. He fights bravely, but is ultimately no match for Surtur's flaming sword. With most of the major gods and their enemies fallen, the battle reaches its terrifying climax. Surtur, the fire giant, fulfills his own destiny. He swings his blazing sword and engulfs the entire world in flames. The fire consumes everything gods, giants, mortals, and even the great tree Yggdrasil. The burning earth groans and sinks beneath the boiling waves of the sea. All is darkness, silence, and water. Ragnarök is complete. The old world is gone. Is this the end? Not quite. The Norse vision of the apocalypse is also one of rebirth. From the depths, a new world, green and beautiful, will rise from the sea. The sun's daughter, a new sun, will take her mother's place in the sky, forming the new earth. A handful of gods survive the cataclysm. Odin's sons Vivar and Vali, and Thor's sons Mogi and Magni, who will inherit their father's hammer, Mjölnir. Baldur and his brother Har return from the underworld, reconciled and ready to rule over this new peaceful age. 2 humans, Lif and Lifrasir, who hid within the world tree, will emerge to repopulate the earth. A new cycle begins, born from the ashes of the old. The twilight of the gods gives way to a new dawn. And that concludes our epic journey through Norse mythology. From the void of Ginnungagap to the ashes of Ragnarök, it's been a wild ride. Is this the end? Is this how it all concludes? In fire and flood and the screams of dying gods? For many, the story of Ragnarök is one of ultimate finality, a grand, tragic finale to the age of myths. But what if I told you that wasn't the whole story? What if the end was just a new beginning? After the fire and the fury, after the skies have wept their last tear, and the oceans have swallowed the old world whole, an uncanny silence descends. The cacophony of battle fades, replaced by the gentle lapping of waves against an unseen shore. For an age, there is nothing but this quiet, watery expanse. The old world, with its grand halls, its ancient evils, and its bitter feuds, is gone, cleansed beneath the endless sea. But then something stirs. Slowly, ever so slowly, a new land begins to rise from the depths. It's not the scarred and blood-soaked earth of old, but a world reborn, impossibly green and vibrant. The sun, a new sun, daughter of the one devoured by the wolf, casts its warm golden light upon fresh fields and nascent forests. The air is clean, free from the smoke of burning worlds and the stench of decay. This is a world innocent and pure, a canvas wiped clean. And on this new canvas, a few familiar figures appear. From the ashes of Asgard, a handful of gods emerge, not as conquerors, but as quiet inheritors. Walking across the verdant plains of Idavil, where the golden halls of Asgard once stood, are Odin's sons, the strong and silent Vidar and the swift Vali. They survived the final battle, their destinies fulfilled. And they are not alone. From the shadowy realm of Hel, a figure long mourned returns. It's Baldur, the Shining One, the beautiful god of light, resurrected and finally free from the darkness. His brother, Hod, who unknowingly cast the fatal blow, is with him. The curse of Loki finally broken. They find the golden gain pieces of the Gyr, the very ones they played with in a time before sorrow. It's a poignant reminder of what was lost, but also a symbol of a new game, a new era about to begin. There is no talk of war, no lust for power. There is only a quiet purpose, to build, to nurture, and to ensure that the mistakes of the past are not repeated. Even Thor's sons, Magni and Modi, arrive, carrying with them their father's mighty hammer, Mjölnir, not as a weapon of war, but as a tool of creation and protection for the world to come. But a world of gods is an empty one. What of humanity? Were they all wiped away in the great cataclysm? Not all. During the final terrible winter and the subsequent fires, 2 humans found refuge in the one place safe from destruction, deep within the trunk of the great world tree, Yggdrasil. Their names were Lif and Lifrasir, literally life, and she who is eager for life. They slept through the end of the world, nourished only by the morning dew. As the new sun warms the new earth, they emerge, blinking in the bright, unfamiliar light. They are the Adam and Eve of this new age. From these 2, a new race of humanity will spring forth, repopulating the new Midgard. They will be a people who know no war, who have no memory of the old gods and their epic struggles. They will live in peace, tilling the fertile soil and raising their children under a benevolent sky. The great cycle of life, death, and rebirth is complete. The serpent has eaten its own tail, and from the end, a new beginning has been woven. Ragnarök was not just an ending. It was a cosmic reset, a violent, necessary pruning of a tree that had grown twisted and corrupt. It teaches us that even from the most absolute destruction, life finds a way. That endings are not always final, but are often the quiet, humble prelude to a new and brighter dawn. The saga is over, but the story of the world has just begun again.